good? Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame Show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name's Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me, it's Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. How are we tonight, Hinks?
What up, Bill? It's a 7:30 game. You know how I am.
Yeah, I tricked Kelly into coming in and filling in tonight.
If only there was some way for me to know when this game began.
You know, I purposefully didn't put out the game day graphic on Twitter until after you said yes.
Okay.
That's how I tricked you.
That's smart.
Yeah.
I'm very easy.
Yeah. We got to just get you in the
like a cat,
the PHLY Slack.
Yeah.
So you see the
Another
stuff
Slack
yourself.
for me not to talk in.
So here we are. Oh, yeah, I bet that's true. Here we are, Kelly. It is game 41.
Wow.
It is the halfway point. After tonight, 41 games remaining.
The home stretch.
They are back for the first time since December 21st. They won, I think, 5-4 over Columbus in overtime and haven't been back in the Wells Fargo Center since. Disney on Ice trip, holiday break, all that good stuff. They're back home, and we're here to talk about it. Toronto Maple Leafs. That's back home, back end of a home and home. It's just a lot of fun things. Yeah, a lot of fun ways to put it. But there will be no lineup changes tonight, at least in terms of the skaters, and there will be no goalie changes either. Ivan Fedotov, pretty strong in his first start in a month to the last Maple Leafs game. The game in Toronto was exactly a month since his previous start. Didn't go so well for him that last one, but he was pretty solid, I thought.
Yeah, he did look, much better than I was expecting. Because he's just so cold, and he looked so bad at the start of the season. It was hard not to think, like, okay, after not playing and probably not practicing all that much for that long, he's probably just going to be a mess. But he made some really big saves, and it was kind of a nice little, like, you know, hey, coach, F you, buddy.
Yeah, so we take a look at, I want to get into the goalies in a moment, but we take a look at the lines tonight, and it's pretty much everything staying the same that way as well. At least it was in morning skate. I'm sure we'll have actual lines in a moment. But it's Paling with Tippett and Konechny, Frost with Lawton and Mish, Cates, Forster, Brink stays together, of course, and that Couturier, Farabee, Hathaway line. We always, it's like, oh yeah, like Paling with Hathaway and Lawton, that's a hell of a fourth line. So not too bad either.
No.
And we also have now on D, York Sandheim, Zamula Risto, Sealer Drysdale. So despite the upheaval in net, they're kind of just rolling out the same lineup right now, trying to continue this consistency out of the skaters. The team in front of the goalie has been pretty good, despite getting league worst goaltending for a lot of this season. It's been going pretty well. And even, you know, without Matvei Michkov on fire right now, the way he was in the first 30 or so games, they're holding their own. They're not winning a ton, which maybe to some, not the worst thing in the world. But it's hard to be upset with the skaters, I would say.
But when will my Emil Andre return from war?
You know, it was something that we ran out of time. We ran out of time on yesterday's show. I wanted to get to, and I had I think it was from the Flyers Zone or something, a graphic, based on every advanced metric, the best D pair this season has been Andre Ristolainen.
Curious.
And obviously Emil Andre still down in the AHL. Relegated, some would say, to the AHL. I don't think any player's ever been hurt by too much AHL time.
No.
But if I am him, I'm looking at things like Alexei Kolosov and being like, so if I threw a tantrum, I would get to stay, though?
Yeah.
What if I just said I quit? I'm going back to, what is he, Swedish?
Sweden?
Yeah. I never know
One
if
of
someone's...
those,
I never know what kind of Scandinavian someone is.
One of those ones.
I'm terrible.
Yeah.
But... You know, just xenophobic, really. I am afraid of other places. I don't know what goes on. But if he were to be like, yeah, I'm going to the SHL, I'm out, would I get to stay? Yeah, I do think that it may be a little frustrating for a lot of fans. And honestly, I'd rather watch Emil Andre than most of the defensemen on this team. Yeah. But that's just the situation right now. The team in front of him has been playing
not bad,
pretty well. Obviously, they have a lot of trouble scoring. And if Michkov isn't going to be the point-of-game player he was, through 27 games, they're going to continue to have trouble scoring. They don't have a lot of guys who are just like, yep, I can put the puck in the net. They have Travis Konechny, Owen Tippett when he's hot. Forster and Cates have been on fire the last few weeks.
Those are somehow our two best players now.
That is listen, I really like what I'm seeing out of them. Forster, maybe his upside is like, oh yeah, he can be on a top line. Maybe it's with Michkov and a center just as good as Mish, and then you have Forster for that two-way play and the driving and all that stuff Charlie talks about.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think anyone's, oh yeah, that's a real top line right there.
No.
Cates, Forster, Brink.
You don't want that to be the best performing line on your hockey team.
By far your best line. Like it's not even really close over the last few weeks. No. That's just kind of going to be what this team's going through. But I like what I'm seeing. I think there's been, like, I just got a tweet I just saw, like, right before we went live, and I was, like, about to respond to it. It was like, I'm not doing that. I got to do the show. And it was, like, wins against top 10 teams and stuff, and the Flyers, like, famously very competitive last year against some really good teams. Played good games against Vegas,
they tend
Colorado,
to play up and then play down.
Dallas, and this year they haven't come away with victories in those situations. He's a clear sign of regression through, from year 2 to year 3 of the rebuild. And it's like, or it's a clear sign that the goaltending's bad.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is they outshot and outchanced Vegas. They outshot and outchanced Toronto.
Yeah.
But when the game-winning goal is Tavares to Matthews to Riley, it's like, we don't have anyone as good as those three guys.
Don't have anyone, no.
At least in terms of just pure offensive skill, they have a couple of dudes who are that good. They have like 5.
And even when our goalies are playing well, we don't have a goaltender that's going to routinely steal you a goal from one of those kinds of players.
And even if you outshot and outchance them, they don't need as many. Like, that's the whole idea is when you play bad, you can still win. And you can do that with a goalie too. The Flyers don't have one. But I am choosing to look at this positively. I do want to get into the goalies in a second. Interesting note for the Leafs side of this lineup, though. Craig Berube says, I just want a bigger, more physical lineup tonight. He's playing Ryan Reeves.
This game is going to be one of those.
He's an in and out kind of guy. Like he was a healthy scratch the previous 2 games. Now he's back in. So maybe it's just like, it's not as if like he's not a Nick Delorier where you just sit him a bunch. I mean, that's not the way they use him.
Yeah. They use him more than we use ours. Let's
they use him more than we have used Nick Delorier, especially this season. They get him in, they get him out. It's not, oh yeah, you're done. Delorier's hurt. It is real, it seems. But that's kind of what's going on there. The rest of the quote, I just think off last game too, Revo has been out the last few games, so I wanted to get him back in. There were some pretty big hits last game, and we have to be prepared.
He was fighting Gary.
I wonder if they're really still upset. Like, Garnet Hathaway.
We call him Gary at PSH. Does anyone else do that?
Hathaway? You call him Gary?
Garnet, Gary.
All right. I can see that being his hockey nickname.
Probably.
Like, I bet you Gary.
Somebody calls him Gary.
I mean, it would be Garney, I guess. But either way, like, if you didn't watch last game, and if you're watching the show, I bet you did, Hathaway's driving to the net. He seems to get a little tied up.
Yeah.
And listen, it's Hathaway. He has a propensity to make contact look a little
spicy boy.
more egregious than it was, but he's tied up a little bit, and he gets pushed, skates into Toronto's goalie, Hildeby played real well last game, and then while he's on the ice after this, McCabe comes up to him and like hits him in the head while he's on the ice. Hathaway gets up and says, all right, let's go. They drop the gloves and fight. McCabe pulls Hathaway down as he's going down. Hathaway ends up falling on him. McCabe hits his head. He's concussed, doesn't come back. I don't know if he's in or out of the lineup tonight. I would guess he's out, but we'll see.
One would hope.
And it seemed like there was a lot of, oh my God, that egregious goalie interference. Hathaway, this guy. Listen, there's no question that Garnet Hathaway is a dude who stirs the pot, walks the line, can do a dirty thing from time to time. We all remember that elbow against Minnesota.
Yeah. That's why we like him. Let's be real.
But you need guys who do that stuff. Absolutely. If that's the reason, like, we got to get a real shot at Hathaway this time, like, that's effing stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Berube could be doing us a favor here because Ryan Reeves, for all his charms, is probably not going to score a lot of hockey goals in any game that you put him in. So, like, if their focus is on chasing Garnet Hathaway around, like, all right, cool.
No, that's very...
Maybe
and listen,
then one of our guys will score a goal.
Yeah, like when he's on the ice, we're home.
Yeah.
I want to say, like, get Michkov out there. But
maybe
get
don't.
Cates and Forster out there.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe don't put Mich out on the ice with Reeves.
Yeah, maybe don't.
Just
he's
in
nuts.
case.
He's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So maybe don't. But it's like, I don't know. That seems very like those, the end, pre-Mike Sullivan, like end of Bilesma Penguins, where it was like, Ronaldo did something stupid. They were up 2-0, and then they spent the rest of the game chasing around Zach Ronaldo. So the Flyers came back and won.
Right.
And Mike Sullivan came in and was just like, stop being dumb.
Doing that.
Like, and then you'll just have the puck the whole game and win. And that's kind of like, I don't know, you're so much better than the Flyers. Just like score 9 goals. It seems like that would be the course of action, but I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to get him in the lineup. Just something you said it right before we went live. I think Ryan Reeves is playing. Yeah. And my thought was, do they need vengeance that badly for...
They are mad
like
at
for
Garnet Hathaway.
Hathaway getting in a fight? I don't know. But we shall see. We'll see how this one goes. Would, in a game like this, not mind having Nick Delorier, but such is life. Is that the... we have the actual lines now? Is that what you tweeted? Okay, Brenna, or slacked me. Okay, so, not tweet. It's the internal conversation.
The same as the ones we just
exactly
read?
the same. It's what we thought.
No changes.
Confirmation.
I was doing one of those office space or office things where I was like, I'm trying to find the difference between these two pictures.
They actually are the exact
same
picture.
They're exactly the same. Okay.
So that's the lineup tonight. As we've been through it, it's the same lineup for a while. Coots and Farabee remain guys, especially Coots, not playing a ton of minutes, not getting a lot of extended ice time. I asked Charlie yesterday, like, given what happened last year, and we saw, and now we know it wasn't just health, or it wasn't just a healthy scratch. Like, he was banged up. Coots needed, core muscle surgery, right? Which is a pretty big deal. We've seen that hinder a lot of guys. But he did fall way, way off from where he was to start the year. Maybe they're trying to conserve his legs a little. Like, all right, let's see where we are. If we're still in this thing in February and March, maybe we bump his minutes back up, try to get that beginning of year Coots back. Just maybe Tortorella just doesn't think he's that good. That's a definite possibility as well. It's not like he's been playing great.
Yeah, after last year, I kind of think it probably is a little column A, a little column B. Like, I don't know how much John Tortorella loves Sean Couturier's game just because he's slow. Yeah. He's always been slow. He's always going to be slow. He's only going to get slower. And we know Torts doesn't like that. So it's understandable that he doesn't love his game. But also, it probably is for the best. I mean, like, we've been talking forever about how, like, the ideal role probably at this point for Sean Couturier is a 3C. We just don't have better players. So through no fault of his own, he can't be the 3C. So it's probably for the best that they limit his minutes a little bit. But also, it kind of stinks because you know what Sean Couturier can do when given the opportunity, especially on the defensive end. So it would be nice for him to get a little bit more time, but these lines are constantly in flux. There's no right answer.
Yeah. Let's get into the goaltending a little bit because I want to talk about Ivan Fedotov. Pretty solid in his last game. Gave up 3 goals. Grading on a really, really steep curve because the goaltending has absolutely stunk. It's the worst in the league. Yeah. The Flyers, by save percentage, at least a couple of days ago, 3 of the 7 worst goalies in hockey by save percentage. Like, what are you going to do? There are no answers. No. But I will say for Ivan Fedotov, like, those first 3 games where he just absolutely sucked are sinking his numbers quite a bit. Since the start of November, Fedotov is at 899. League average is about 900. He's been somewhere around league average since the start of November. Now, he did miss basically the entire month of December, but that's the way it goes. And if you take out the Florida game, and I know you can't, it happened.
But you can.
But he played 20 minutes. He gave up 2 goals on 7 shots. Like, that's also going to sink your numbers. If you just take out those 20 minutes, he's at 905. That is absolutely respectable in today's NHL.
I would absolutely love for us to have a reliably 905 goaltender right now.
This is not the NHL, like, where even a few years ago, like when we started, when like league average was 910, maybe even 915. like 900.
Yeah.
He's been at 905 for the most part since those first 3 games where he got destroyed. I'm hoping this is the start of something because we have some Tortorella quotes here on the goaltending that I believe were from maybe Morning Skate Today. I saw that, Morning Skate Today. I saw them in Jordan Hall's piece, and we actually have the clip that I want to play for everyone. This is John Tortorella on the goalie situation.
I was pretty honest at the beginning of the year where we're at, and no one expected, we did not expect this, right? We're force feeding, let's face Urs, we're force feeding him. Now we have two other guys coming from Russia, coming over in the picture a lot quicker than we ever thought they would be. When Carter left, that threw this into such a turmoil. It is what it is. We've lived with it. We continue to live with it, and we do the best we can. No one foresaw this. I think a lot of people kind of run it down a little bit. What are they doing? No one foresaw this was going to happen as you develop your team and you develop probably your most important position. We thought we'd had more time with Urs to develop him. He gets thrown into it, and now it's with his injury problems here of late, it's turned it into even a little bit more of a situation. So we just keep banging away.
Listen, all that is true for the most part.
Yeah.
The nobody saw this coming thing. The writing was on the wall for a little bit, and it's been almost a year since Carter Hart. We lost Carter. Yes and no. The writing was on the wall, and you've had a year to address that situation.
Yeah.
Now, if you're just wanting to go with these 3 guys, and the Kolosov situation is what it is, maybe you thought it was just going to be Ivan Fedotov to start and see where that goes. Fedotov was so bad. Here comes Kolosov. Now you're afraid he won't go back to Lehigh. Whatever it is. If you wanted to fix it, and I'm not advocating that they do, this is probably for the best. And let's find out about these 3 guys we have under contract. Why the hell not? If you actually wanted to fix it, though, you've had 12 months.
Yeah.
All the way up to last trade deadline, you didn't acquire a goalie. And then from July 1st to now, you haven't acquired a goalie.
Yeah.
This isn't like I don't know, what can you do situation. There was something, you've chosen not to. And I kind of hate we thought we had more time to develop ours. Plans change. This is professional sports. Guys, maybe you're not expecting your possible franchise goaltender to be out of the league because he's facing sexual assault charges. That's a very serious thing, and it's wildly uncommon. But say he tears his knee and he's out for a year.
Yeah.
I don't know, nothing we can do. It's sports. Guys come in and out of lineups all the time. That part bothered me, but I do agree that, the goalie situation, it's in flux because we just don't know what we have out of these guys, and this is part of rebuilding. You got to find out about the goalies too.
Yeah, I have a hard time kind of pinning this on Briere as a mistake.
Oh yeah, no.
Only because like Charlie said 1,000 times, we can disagree. I think you and I are definitely not as high on Ersson as Charlie seems to be, and Charlie has suggested that the organization is very high on Ersson. So obviously they went into this year thinking Sam's going to be the guy. And then I'm sure that they thought that they had something in Fedotov. Clearly they thought they had something in Fedotov. They had an expectation there, and obviously it seems like they were probably wrong. Although, maybe if they hadn't thrown Kolosov into the mix and Feddy had gotten more time, maybe he'd look a little better. I don't know. There's a lot of things. You can start questioning talent evaluation maybe, or decision-making. I don't know. But this is one of those things where I feel like if they had aims on being a very good hockey team this year, then they probably would have done something else. But they know where we are. And so they are probably just hey, if they're good, that's cool. If they're not, all right, we'll get another high pick. We'll try again next year.
And Charlie did make a point, and I have said many times, you and I have talked about this tough decision thing. When we had the hypothetical of, you can have Elias Pettersson, but we want TK. And would the Flyers say no to that? And it wouldn't be 1-for-1, obviously. You'd still have to give up other stuff, and you'd have to think about it. But do the Flyers want to be that sort of organization that makes those like cutthroat decisions? We see it work both ways. Working in Vegas has for quite a while. Maybe not working so well with the Rangers right now. You know, you have to balance it. What if after last season, like you have this Kolosov thing, you know that's happening. Like you know whatever's going on with Kolosov is happening. And then you have to sign, if you want to keep him, Fedotov needs a contract.
Yeah.
Maybe you tell him sorry. Great story. Sorry about all this. No fault of your own, but we're going in a different direction because you're going to be 28 when the season, like a month into the season. Yeah. Maybe you make that decision. I don't know. But here we are with Fedotov, and he might be the number one by the time this thing all works out, because we also have.
You never know.
I just want to read some of these Sam Ersson quotes also from the Jordan Hall story today. If you want to give that a read on NBC Sports Philly. Just talking about his injury this time around, he says, it's definitely a little frustrating, not going to lie. But I think for me, just trying to find a better perspective and try to put that frustration into a good thing. Now I feel pretty good. This time around, I don't think it's anything too bad. I feel like that kind of helps too, that it's like, okay, I'll be back pretty soon, I feel. And he skated today with the extras, Eric Johnson and Ula Lixell. So I guess it's not like debilitating. He can still get out there a little bit. And yeah, that's Jordan Hall tweeted a video of him getting some work in. So he's not, in a wheelchair or whatever. He's not on crutches.
He's not on Ellis Island.
Yeah, he's not on Ellis Island. We see him. He exists.
He exists.
Given his injury situation, though, maybe, again, like at least until Four Nations or into March, why not just rotate the three? I know they've done this thing of, well, we have three, but we're only going to play two at a time, and then we'll see what happens. Like, I don't know. When Ersson's healthy, let's keep three and rotate him, because at least until someone really stands out or there's another injury, because why not lighten Ersson's workload a little if clearly we saw what happened last year and Torts said, now we're force-feeding Ersson. We thought we had more time to develop him. Maybe we don't have to. Why run this guy into the ground if he's going to keep getting hurt, or his game's going to go into the tank?
Not good.
It's
if you're going to keep all three of these guys on the roster, there's no reason not to play all three of them.
All right, and before we go any further with tonight's show, I got to tell you about our friends at Game Time.
Ooh.
That's right, it's Game Time, baby. I've been using Game Time. It is the number one, the absolute best secondary ticket marketplace in the whole internet. That's right. And one of the reasons, it's because of the newest feature, Game Time Picks, which filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. That's right. And you still get all the old, not old, Game Time's not super old, but all the original features that made it such a great app, like the all-in pricing, the seat views, the low price guarantee, and the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Now it's time for the Pregame Pick segment. This Pregame Pick segment brought to you by Bet365. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, just one bet tonight, and it's not the most ridiculous, not the most obscure
That's
thing.
a good one.
The Flyers' top goal scorer. I'm picking him to score a goal. Plus 190 on the Bet365 app. Listen, he only has 2 goals in his last 8 games. I believe they both came in the same game. They're back home. He's a guy who absolutely feeds off the emotion of the crowd.
He does.
Fans haven't seen this team since December 21st. Think they're going to be a little juiced up to welcome him back. There's always a few Leafs games, a few Leafs fans at these games. Yes. National fan base, and they travel pretty well. That usually gets the crowd going a little bit when there can be a little back and forth. I'm taking TK to score at least 1 goal tonight.
I like it.
And he has had a propensity for multi-goal games. Maybe for the Brave, 2 or more goals, 14-1 on Bet365. Maybe check that out. But I'm just going to go with the 1 tonight. Travis Konechny, anytime goal. I just got to get back on track. I'm going with the most obvious thing.
I like it.
Because I think it's the thing I can win.
Sometimes you got to, score an easy goal. Get the monkey off your back.
So those are the Bet365 picks. Make sure you use that code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment. Never ordinary at Bet365. Only a few minutes left here, and we just talked about the Maple Leafs the other day for pregame, so I don't feel the need to do that again. This remaining schedule, Hinkle, talked about it a little yesterday with Charlie. It's tough for the Flyers.
Yeah.
This kind of happened last year. Like there was that gauntlet, and the Flyers kind of got through it. And then after that is when the wheels really fell off. Like they got through okay, but the standings have changed nominally since yesterday.
Yeah.
But starting tonight, 21 of the next 33 games are against playoff teams.
Oh boy.
It's going to be really tough for this team to kind of fight their way back into this. Now, we've looked at the standings. The East is hilarious, quite honestly. Like every
is
team,
just a pile of garbage.
There's 4 really good teams, and then everyone else is between 38 and 42 points.
Yes.
It's everyone, like the Flyers yesterday, by points percentage, 10th worst team in the league, 23rd overall. 2 points out of the playoffs.
Let's go. Parity, baby.
That's absolutely. And again, it's changed a little since yesterday. There were games last night. But that's where we are here. Given the schedule coming up, given the uncertainty with the goaltending, where the hell do you see this going?
The thing about this dumb team is that them finishing third worst in the East makes perfect sense to me, and them clawing their way into that last wild card
finishing
spot
ahead of Tampa also in the cards.
Yeah, I would like to see them do one of those two things. I would like to see them either, I forget where I read this today, someone else said this, so I'm not clever, climb to the top of that pile of garbage or finish at the bottom of that pile of garbage. Do not be in the middle of it. Just pick a lane, either get there or leave it. But knowing them, they'll finish, 6 points out of the playoffs.
And that's
we'll be where we were last year.
Looking at the way the schedule works out, there's 21 of 33 against playoff teams, and then the final 9, pretty easy by strength of schedule.
Yeah.
And it's going to be okay. They're eliminated, and now they've worked their way up to 12.
10-game winning streak.
I told Charlie, he has that in his new 10 observations. What are people mad about?
Everything.
I was like, you can pre-write this, dude. Your March articles are already written, at least that section.
Oh, yeah.
What are people mad about? That they were about to have the third best lottery odds, and now they're back at 11th. That is absolutely the way it's going to play out.
One article from that end, and one article about people being mad that they were almost in the playoffs and now they're just out. One of those two.
Yeah, obviously. All right, before we get out of here, let's hit these super chats. First one here from VO Noob. Let's effing go. Michkov and Fedotov lead the way. I'm
thinking Michkov, because Michkov has a little Konechny in him. He's a showman. I'm thinking maybe them being back at home, maybe it'll get him going.
And listen, man, I know if you read that article, I think it was in the RG Media the other day. He spoke to Mish pretty at length. Some good stuff in there. Through an interpreter, and he says he's not paying attention to the Calder race. Once you start thinking about it, then you're in your head about it, and it's probably even harder. But he's a competitive guy.
No,
there's a trophy,
though.
a trophy that he's eligible to win.
He's gonna try.
And at one point, he was the favorite for it. I can't imagine he's oh yeah, I don't care about that.
Nah, no way.
He definitely wants it.
Yeah.
And obviously we want it for him.
And he can get it.
And he can. So
he's just got to get going.
Maybe he gets it going a little bit. He said it's pretty hard to, what he's struggling with now is the energy of each game, preparing, the travel, being a pro. And it's why we're excited to have him early.
Yeah.
So John Tortorella can kind of, get in there, get his hands on him, make sure he's ready to go when he's 22, 23, 28 years old. But right now, it's a struggle. We all recognize it. Lane Hudson, kind of killing it.
Yeah,
so
not
maybe
great.
He's falling down a little bit. All right, and this next one here from Gary B says, what blackmail does Ryan Poehling have on Torts? For the life of me, Pales is a below-average center. Could be wrong, but I would rather see Lawton. They like Lawton on the wing. They like him in that utility role. And
Poehling's so fast.
He can skate. That's what it is. And they don't have a 1C. There is a part of me that thinks maybe Torts is doing a little, is what you gave me, Danny.
I wouldn't hate it.
But I mean, like the freshly turned 18-year-old made this team and played some NHL games because they simply don't have any centers. Listen, Ryan Poehling is a real good penalty killer, 4C.
Great 4C.
Yeah, but it is what it is right now. They don't have anyone.
Yeah.
Should it be Morgan Frost? Yeah, but it ain't because he hasn't been very good.
No. This is Morgan Frost.
This is what we have to play with. These are the toys in the sandbox at this point.
They're all broken and dirty.
None of it works. No. All right. End on a positive note. This has been the PHLY Flyers pregame show presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Make sure you're following us right here on the YouTube page so you can catch postgame. We'll be back as soon as this thing goes final. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at PHLY_Flyers. It's where I do all my in-game tweeting. And make sure you follow the podcast as well. Just search PHLY Flyers. All right, that's it for us. My name's Bill Matz. That's Kelly Hinkle. Until the end of this, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.